this? Ganthet's just stoned. He's just all fucking tripped out on emotion acid. Can you imagine that? You imagine tripping on acid during all that shit? You need that? That's fucking nuts. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries. Okay, Ganthet, shut up. You have 2 hands. You're fucking seeing things. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Burpee's Comic Book Asylum. Last week was a mess, as it tends to usually be around these parts. That's why it's called an asylum. For crazies like me. But I've been informed that maybe I went a little too nuts. As such, I have come prepared this week. I wrote down a script, at least for the intro. Let's begin. Me am like comics. Me am like beer. Yeah, really like beer. Me am like you. Except you. I don't like you. Me am begin now. Good? And script. What's up, ladies and men? I have brought to the party some beer and some comics and my mug, which unfortunately is non-refundable because this is free. Had you paid for me as a prostitute, you could have gotten your money back. You did not agree to have to look at something like this for the next however long I feel like going on for. It's a rather unfortunate deal for you. I have found, though, this has been sent in to me. It's people have done this. If you go ahead and block your computer screen, see, like you can't see, I'm more enjoyable. It's true. Unfortunately, I tell you to go ahead and unplug the sound, but then you've kind of lost everything. There's some pretty art behind me, though. Take what you can get, right? Right. So, say hello to Booster. Excuse me, Booster. I'm going to put my beer right in front of you. And, yeah. So, no news again. Whoa, what's up? I have some pussy on my lap. Hi, Lily. Oh, you're so distracting. You're going to take this whole thing and make it go somewhere else. All right, let's get on with it, shall we? We have a whole assortment of books this week. Let's go ahead and start it out. The first part of the War of the Green Lanterns, Green Lantern number 64. In this issue, we have the writing of Geoff Johns and the art of Doug Mahnke. Doug Mahnke's art continues to be fabulous. The art on the cover here is pretty awesome. Lots of characters, not quite George Perez level of intricacy and awesomeness, but it is still most excellent. Schwing. That is an Ivan Rice cover, though, by the way. It is not Doug Mahnke. The story here, a little slow to get into. It had some high points, but I didn't feel, I didn't feel at any time that it really hit a mark that was like, fuck, I gotta buy this shit. It basically just kind of laid it out for us like, okay, we're progressing slowly into this story that already had a prelude, but this still feels like a prelude. This is like Prelude 2.0. There were some pretty splash pages, as is something you would want from a Doug Mahnke who does amazing art. Give him a bunch of space, let him play. If you have a man who can build beautiful sandcastles, don't give him a portion of the sandbox, give him the whole goddamn sandbox. And Geoff Johns has done that with Doug Mahnke repeatedly. We have constant, giant, beautiful pictures, whether it's 2-page or single-page splashes. A formula that was used heavily and a little too much, maybe even in Blackest Night. Here we have a little bit more of the Blackest Night element coming back as well, in that we see some zombie heroes, but they're not really technically zombies. They're like fear-possessed zombies. So it's a little bit of the same. You also have a, I would like to think it's a homage to Ghostbusters and Not Crossing the Beams here, as Sinestro tells Hal Jordan to give him a fist bump of awesomeness, which results in a huge fucking explosion because they have crossed the beams, if you will. Hal Jordan's like, you can't do that, and Sinestro's like, you do it, bitch! And Hal Jordan's like, oh, fuck you, fine. I knew we shouldn't have done that! And he goes, flying away. Overall, I don't know. The issue's okay. Nothing fabulous. Parallax, by the way, going back, will Tarantino shit, slip it back sideways through the time stream. The zombie action comes from, the fear zombie action, if you will, comes from Parallax being reinserted back into the Green Lantern battery, which as soon as that happened, I thought, oh shit. Somebody start throwing yellow crayons at them. Yellow crayons, yes. Why yellow crayons? Because. Why would you not want to see Green Lanterns defenseless against yellow crayons? Anyway, we didn't get any of the yellow nonsense. When I say nonsense, I mean amazingness. Instead, what we got was Blackest Night Zombies, but with the fear. So it's like Fierce Night. It's like Thriller, Riddle of the Night. Oh shit, singing's continuing. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give it a browse. It's not quite buyable. It's not quite burnable. It's a prelude after a prelude, in my opinion, which is unnecessary. But, holding the line at $2.99. Oh, still $2.99. Comics are so expensive, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate what DC's done, but it's really not doing that much to my pocketbook in the long run. Basically, what it boils down to is I have an expensive addiction that's not crack. It's called comic books. It's worse for my health. It's worse for my social life. And it's even worse on my wallet. My point is, it's readily accessible. Okay? And I know when the shipment comes in. If you're a crackhead, you're not necessarily sure. You're just like, give me some goddamn rocks, man. Something like that. I don't know. I can honestly say I've never done crack rock, so I don't know if is an accurate interpretation of what would happen to you on crack, but yeah, I can assume. Next up, we have Green Lantern Corps, number 58. This is part Deuce Dizzle of the War of the Green Lanterns. This was written by Tony Bedard, Ramadan, I'm sorry, and Tyler Kirkman on art. I feel like Tyler Kirkham, I cannot pronounce names, I suck. You suck! Kirkham, we'll just go Kirkham, has put in some awesome art here. There's some great pages here. Let me go ahead and find you a couple of my faves. This made the whole zombie fear action really actually pretty cool. The Soranik Natu right there is pretty badass. Rock Slide, I mean, not Rock Slide. Giant Green Lantern Rock Dude made him look way cool. We also have John Stewart getting attacked by the many legion of Kyle Rayner. The reign of Kyle Rayner. The Rainer. And then my all-time favorite moment of the month, possibly, is Ganthet basically getting his possessed ring back. And he gets all Luke Skywalker hand blown off bullshit. The ring just detonates on his hand. Oh, my hand! They bandage his ass up, and then fucking basically Ganthet holds out and goes gangsta, and he's like, I'm gonna hold the fort. And they're like, you can't do it! And he's like, bitches, I'm a motherfucking guardian. And they're like, word. They fly off again. That's like, fuck. I have a fucking hand. I'm so fucked. Why would they leave me? They're a bunch of assholes for all I've done for them. And they just leave him, and that's where we leave off. It was a good book. I'd give it a solid buy. It was fun. It was entertaining. It ramped the action level up. If you're doing a series like this and you put out a prelude, you hope that eliminates the need to establish the story, especially since it's an ongoing title. The three titles that play into this, you'd think you'd have the story established already, but clearly it took a prelude and then a prelude 2.0, and now we're on track. So, I'm real interested to see where this goes. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. Shit, son. Beer's going quick. Okay. Let's go throw that bottle away. Whoa, that could have broke. Okay, next up. We have Uncanny X-Force. We've got Rick Remender on the writing, and we've got S.A. Aribik on the arting. Beautiful stuff here as far as the art goes. Some good writing, too. Last issue, I felt, did a great job of really basically saying, here's Phantom X. Grant Morrison used them to some pretty decent success. Matt Fraction has used him. He's been This last issue of this book, Uncanny X-Force number 5, really took Phantom X and thrust him in the limelight and said, hey, here's this badass dude, pay attention. He's fucking awesome. It was good, but it wasn't quite on that level. I feel like maybe it was one of those instances, though, where the previous book was so good that it automatically hurts the next book because your expectations are high. Just kind of like I talked about last week with Amazing Spider-Man. You get the awesome semi-silent issue that delves into a Marcos Martin, Dan Slott, basic Spider-Man love fest, and the best jump-on book ever. How that book was not part of the Point One initiative just blows my mind. If you want to introduce readers to Spider-Man, that was the fucking book, and you didn't make it a Point One. I don't get it. Don't get it. Also previous to this was the Reapers stuff. And that shit was pretty dope. This book, though, there had some great moments. I really enjoyed the Betsy and Brian moments where she's kind of reflecting with him, and I thought, wow, damn, I can't believe she's admitting all this shit. And then it's like, leaving the danger zone. The danger zone. It's actually the danger room, bitch. It's danger. High voltage. You know, it was pretty awesome. It was a good twist I didn't see coming. I really thought she was bearing her soul to Brian. I thought, oh, it's got some repercussions. But it's not. And then you get a little more delving into just the insecurities of the team and dealing with each other as a team. You know, Psylocke's like, oh, Phantom X? Yeah, that motherfucker can leave his shit out to dry and figure his own shit out. I got no interest in helping him. And then the Deadpool moment is like, you don't even know how close it was to us leaving your ass. That shit was pretty funny. I'm really excited, though. They're talking about, you know, we're going to kill the future. They're going to go into the world. I'm real excited for that. I think them and the world should be really cool. Ed Ribic should do some amazing work on the art with that. Overall, I'd give the book a buy. It's solid. When I say this book wasn't as good as the last book, it's still better than most books. Uncanny X-Force continues to be a very solid book. Next up, short review for this one. We've got X-Men number 9. We've got Victor Gischler. And we've got Chris Bachalo. Bachalo's art is, as usual, phenomenal. Just tremendously delicious to look at. You can taste it on your tongue. The twist in this book that the big bad isn't, you know, the Lizard, but is actually instead Dark Beast was très cool. I super dug that. I love me some Dark Beast. I love me anything to do with the Age of Apocalypse. So to get a little bit of the Dark Beast was way cool. That Bachalo Dark Beast was super cool, looking super dastardly. Overall, the book itself was kind of, I don't know, it's happening, but it doesn't seem to have much of an impact, which, you know, I think is basically what this book is supposed to be. It's supposed to be that bridge to the Marvel Universe, and in that case, it succeeds. It helps to sell books by putting Spider-Man in it. But it's definitely not the most entertaining issue. Victor Gischler, I think, has done a pretty decent job of his run on this book. He's been given vampires and now lizard people, and it's like the X-Men Book of Monsters. So I'm interested to see where they go from here. Hopefully, I mean, I can't get over the feeling that maybe there's a little bit of, you know, you have to put this in here because we have to integrate this, and I could be entirely wrong, but it kind of feels that way. I don't know. I am glad that they got Gischler off the Deadpool books and got him onto something solid because I do think he is a guy with some good talent, and I think he could produce some good stuff here. I just don't necessarily feel like this issue was his best. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a browse because it wasn't terrible. It had the Dark Beast. Bachalo's art automatically brings anything back from death. It's like the Jean Grey Phoenix of the Marvel Universe, comics universe, whatever. You put Bachalo on it. Bam! Sold. In mad quantities. Alright. Ooh. Ouch. Murder mask, murder mask. Alright, as I explained before, we put the murder mask on and we're about to destroy a book. The book we're about to destroy is Batman Streets of Gotham, number 21, by Paul Dini and Dustin Nguyen. Nguyen, I can never say her name right, Ramadan. Overall, the art in this book is awesome, but his Batman is amazing. Just the intricacies of his costume. He's got the slits on the side of the mask. Just little details like that really, I feel, do a lot for the look of it to make him look unique. So often I feel like with an iconic character like Batman, his look can really become very homogenous, I guess. I don't really know how to say it. It becomes hard for an artist to really say, look, that's my work on Batman, unless you've got a style, that really sets you apart. But, everybody can get lost into making the costumes so similar because you don't want to lose the basic overall Batman look, I guess. Long-winded way of saying, basically, that Dustin Nguyen does a great job of personalizing the Batman costume without losing any of the elements. A trait of a real pro. My cat just jumped on my dresser, fell off, and had a hammer land on her. Cats are fucking devious creatures. If I had a hammer land on me like that, I would cry. I'm not ashamed to say it. I would cry. My cat, Lalandra, hardcore. Anyway, the issue itself, the whole arc, the whole sequel to the House of Hush stuff, I don't know, kind of really super disappointing. It doesn't feel like it has any impact. I don't really understand what the point of it was. They introduced a new character. I feel like with Hush's name in there, he should have been involved more. If it's the last battle between Hush and Batman, which it's not, but if you're going to promote it as such, you might want to have them really duke it out. Instead, you've got none of the sort. You actually have Hush's face cut off, so he no longer has Bruce Wayne's face, which is probably the best part of the whole book, because you're kind of like, wow, that's really fucked up. But it reaches the climax of the whole, what are they going to do about Tommy Elliott wearing Bruce's face? Well, they're going to cut it off and mutilate him, much like this arc was mutilated in the writing department. Awesome art. Don't care for the story. What was the point? That is God. I'm giving it a burn. Overall, though, I can see why that's the last issue of the series. Just saying. Next up, we got Justice League Generation Lost, number 22. We have Judd Winnick, and we have Mr. Joe Bennett here. Obviously, Blue Beetle didn't die last time around. We knew that was coming. That issue was a little hit or miss for me. This issue was awesome. Joe Bennett has some great pieces of art here. You got the reactions on the side. You got Batman and Robin. Or, Batman and Power Girl. Although I'm sure there are some who would love to see her in a Robin costume. I love Rocket Red's his basically like, oh, this is Wonder Woman, this is what you're talking about based on what you're telling me. It's just so gratuitous with the stars on the titties and shit like that. I thought that was really funny considering the timing of it with the Wonder Woman costume coming out and all the critiques about that, and then the new version of Wonder Woman's costume in the comics, and then you get this. I got to chuckle at it because I just, the way fans have been describing how the costume should look, it all looks and sounds so different in people's minds. I thought that was funny. Very good timing. Anyway, I also totally dug Max Lord in this book with his creepy Cerebro type unit where he's going to fuck with everybody's heads. Overall, the book was really good. Probably one of my favorite of the series. Even Wonder Woman looks good in that new suit right there. Joe Bennett did some fantastic art. And Omax. I love me some Omax. I'm an Infinite Crisis fan. I don't care how many times I bought for that burnt me. I enjoyed it. I'm really excited for next issue. It looks like we're going to have Wonder Woman, the JLI, Power Girl, Batman, Bruce Batman, that is, ladies and gentlemen. Not Dick, but Bruce. Duking it out with some Omax and Max Lord going down, baby. Gonna be cool. Speaking of Dustin Nguyen, awesome cover. Really cool stuff. Putting the lasso of truth on her. She looks like she just can't handle it. Or she's doing crack rocks. Ugh. It's like the anti-Greg Land face. Actually, it's kind of a Greg Land face. Is that a Greg Land swipe? Did we just find one? No. Too good. Anyway, that's a buy for me. I like that book. I like it a lot. Believe it or not, I love me some JLI. Next up, we have Wolverine and Jubilee, number 3, by Catherine Immonen and Phil Noto. I rather enjoy this book on a constant basis. Phil Noto's art is perfect. Catherine Immonen needs to get on a book permanently with the Marvel Universe. I would really, really, really like to see her take over a new X-Men book. I'm just saying, she seems to have a decent grasp on some of the characters involved. You could bring in Jubilee as their mentor. Come on, it would be so cool. Anyway, sorry, that's my wish for the day. I like what she's doing here with Rockslide, kind of giving the mythical or like the mystic element to him with the little symbol and all that. I'm really interested to see what they're planning on doing there. Overall, the book is just good. I don't really know. I've said quite a bit about this book, it seems like. And every time we get to talk about it, it's just good. I really enjoy it. The art is fantastic. I feel like it's crisp and clean, but not so clean as to be Greg Land. It still has emotion in it that aren't smiles. And the writing is deep, and each character is unique and well developed in each page. Catherine Immonen is really, really, really good at that. She's also most excellent at the dialogue here. The dialogue in this book flows perfectly. You really feel like there are some actual people interacting, not necessarily these faces painted on a page, which in an industry like comics is should be a given, but is not always a given. Sometimes you have to kind of eat a little crow along with the good stories you're getting. But here, you're getting a great story, you're getting excellent dialogue, you're getting some beautiful art. It is a perfect package. If you are not buying Wolverine and Jubilee, it might be too late now for you because I think the final book is coming out next month. But pick it up in trades because this book is a buy, ladies and gentlemen. Buy. Next up, we have Ultimate Spider-Man number 156. Kicks off Death of Spider-Man with Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. I just want to say, as an individual who picked up the first issue of this, like my junior year of high school, that's right, we've just dated ourselves here, ladies and gentlemen. Either now I'm way too young for you, or I'm way too old. Time, you're a fickle son of a bitch. I need some, like, jewel-encrusted chompers, and I go back in time. Sweet, forward in time. Yeah. Anyway. For me, as a fan of Mark Bagley's Ultimate Spider-Man and Bendis' Ultimate Spider-Man, I was stoked to see this book. This is how this book should look. This is how this book should have always looked. I'm not taking anything away from the artists who were previously on the book. They did a good job. They did what they needed to, but they are not Mark Bagley. Mark Bagley is Mark Bagley, and Mark Bagley is back, bitches. The man is he is Ultimate Spider-Man. Him and Bendis are Ultimate Spider-Man. They are Peter Parker Spider-Man. It is one and the same. You can't remove one and insert another. Unless, of course, that's what they're aiming to do here, potentially. But overall, this picks up great after the last issue where everything's kind of going perfectly for Peter. He's back with Mary Jane. Shit's looking good. And then shit goes to hell and Green Goblin's back. That's right. Norman Osborn is back. How? We don't know. Why? Well, because he's going to fuck some shit up. And I, for one, am excited because it's drawn by Bagley, and it's so pretty. And you just have all these little plot lines, it seems like, that are finally building up. I just, there's so much about this book to like. I enjoy that we've kind of got back to the status quo without going back to the status quo. Now, follow me here. You've got Bagley and Bendis, who initiated the title. You've got the initial romance now of Mary Jane and Peter. But when I say you've got that status quo, that's what I mean. But when I say you don't go back to the initial status quo, I mean that you still have maintained, it appears, all the different changes over time. Aunt May still knows about everything. He still has had a relationship with Gwen. He's still got, Iceman and Human Torch living in his aunt's house. There's just so much that has happened and transpired in the time frame that this book has occurred. But we haven't lost any of it. There's been no deals with Mephisto here, ladies and gentlemen. We get to go backwards in time, essentially, and bring back the Mary Jane relationship, but we get to keep the baggage. That's what makes a book good with continuity. Continuity doesn't have to be your enemy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why it's fought against so hard. You just have to make it work like Bendis does here. Ultimate Spider-Man number 156. Not as good as 155, but kind of like I said earlier, with Uncanny X-Force, Ultimate Spider-Man is one of those books where as long as Bendis is writing it, it may not be as good as the last issue, but it's always better than most issues on the stands of anything else. Ha! Yes! Love that book. Next up, keeping the Ultimate Universe, we got Ultimate Doom. Again, with Brian Michael Bendis penning the words into the mouths of some characters and Rafa Sandoval. Sandoval gives us some awesome artwork here. Stuff like that is so cool. Just real abstract stuff. You know, it's not necessarily like, look, these guys are fighting in a little kingdom. Some really cool splash pages with some fighting and shit. You know, a lot has happened in this 3 trilogy thing that we've gotten here with Mystery, Enemy, and Doom now. A lot has changed in the Ultimate Universe. I would argue that the changes within this book are almost as big as Ultimatum, not quite, but almost. And it's funny how much it slipped under the radar, which is amazing, because I feel like it really says something about the Ultimate Universe in general, in that it's less important, which is sad, because before an event like this would have been huge. Now it's kind of like, oh, look, we're doing this thing called Ultimate Doom. Oh, yeah, by the way, Reed Richards is a real evil son of a bitch now. Thing is totally getting married to Sue, and he has some kind of crazy power. He can change his body, you know, this glowing purple thing. And people don't even bat an eye, and there's probably people who don't even know. It's unfortunate. If you're not reading this, you should be. It is a buy. I'm going to go ahead and say that up front. Sandoval's art throughout this has been spot on. Bendis is, well, he's fucking Brian Michael Bendis. You know, if you love him, and everything you love him for is in here. If you don't like him, well, you're not welcome here, first of all. Second of all, you're probably not going to like this. And third of all, you're not welcome here, so. Scoot, motherfucker. Anyway, it's a good book, and there's been some huge changes. I like the Ultimate Universe. I do. I really genuinely enjoy it, minus most of the stuff with the Avengers anymore. And the new Avengers versus Ultimate Avengers, or whatever that thing was. That was terrible. But this is real good. This is quality. If Bendis' name is on it, and it's also got the Ultimate name on it, you should buy it. Again, Reed Richards is a bad guy now. He's lost off somewhere in the negative zone, or wherever the fuck that was. A good book. I like it. Next up, we got Haunt, number 14. We've got Mr. Robert Kirkman and Greg Capullo. Capullo. I don't know how you say his name. This is one of those books that I read that Davey doesn't read, so it's nice to actually be able to talk about a book like this, because we never talked about it. Haunt, for those of you that don't know, is an awesome buddy-brother book where one brother possesses the other, who used to be a priest, and the one who's doing the possessing actually used to be a secret agent that killed people. So you've got a priest possessed by his killing brother. Yes! How is that not on your pull list? And if it is, my hand, my Ganthet, that shit's blown off. Crack! You know, originally this was Otley on art, and that was really, really awesome, obviously, because Kirkman and Otley clearly have some kind of crazy Venom-style symbiosis deal going on, which was perfect for a book like this. Capullo has come in with a very image sensibility, which is perfect, because this book really was initially supposed to be, in my opinion, the way I thought of it, was image books from the 90s done correctly, with not only some cool-looking art with sketchy anatomy, but with a story, too. And this book hits those marks. Capullo's, we'll call him Greg. Greg's art is fantastic here. You've got Haunt and Blood Haunt, or whatever he's going to be called. I'm going to go ahead and call him Blood Haunt. His art is fantastic here. Haunt essentially is like Spider-Man's Spawn, but to much cooler effect than that actually sounds. It's just, overall, it's a great book. I don't know. I just more or less want to throw it out there and put it on the radar. You know, let's see, what can I say? Show you more cool pictures! There's some awesome fighting in this. It's gory. It's intriguing. There's a mystery behind what exactly is going on with these two brothers who are able to join up. Sometimes they lose each other and their power goes away. Now all of a sudden this big red monster, Blood Haunt thing's showing up. And then you've got crazy, big-breasted anatomy issues going on here. Chick at the end. It's just, it's a good, solid book. It's not one of those books that you're like, man, that book's going to win some kind of hoity-toity award for being life-changing. Okay, it's no blankets, all right? Let's be clear. But it is Haunt, and it is fun, and it is action-packed, and it actually tells a pretty fun story. So if you want to spend your $2.99 on a fun book, this is not a bad place to start. You know, in a world full of image books that are Morning Glories, the Intrepids, Little Depressed Boy, things like that. I feel like books like Haunt are kind of getting left behind with books like Spawn, unfortunately, because this is clearly much better than Spawn. Spawn is garbage. All right. Next up, we have the opposite of terrible. We have FF by Jonathan Hickman and Steve Epting. Holy shit, Steve Epting is just amazing. Again, amazing. Look at that Spider-Man. That is gorgeous. Steve Epting, I mean, the guy has done some fantastic work, obviously, on Captain America. He had some awesome stuff done there with Brubaker. Tag team in here with Hickman. Real cool. We've got the foundation of the new FF, the Future Foundation. New costumes that actually can change. So you can do black on white, white on black, or as it sounds like, anything you fucking want. Because they're like third generational. How did Sue describe it? It was pretty nuts. The suits are made of third generation unstable molecules. There are default settings, but you can create variations on each theme by concentrating. Yes. Yes. How is Hickman and the Fantastic Four not such an obvious combination? Come on. This guy, I mean, and then I love when he does shit like this. He did this with Secret Warriors, and then it kind of went away, and you didn't see much more after that. I love that shit. Bringing Doom into the fold was a very big surprise to me. I don't know that I'd seen any promo stuff saying that he was going to be involved, but I welcome it. It was very cool. Outside of the awesomeness of the costumes and fighting AIM and the Wizard coming in and Spider-Man looking all pretty with some Epting art, there was great writing here, obviously, from Jonathan Hickman. You've got some really endearing moments, such as Peter looking to sit down at the dinner table and being told basically, like, yo, that's Uncle Johnny's spot. You don't fucking sit there. It was really cool. It had a lot of great moments. Ben Grimm sitting in his room, closing the door when he saw Peter coming in, and Sue having to explain, that's not personal. It's just, it's still rough for everybody. You're really coming off of the funeral issue and the death issue. You come into this, and there is that vibe of hope and renewal, but they keep that overtone vibe of just basically like, some shit has just gone down, and nobody's over it. We're not looking to brush it on the rug. It's something we're all going to deal with. Which I think Hickman is great at really taking the emotional and human aspect of it and really promoting it, letting it foster, and letting it long-term grow into something, which we've clearly seen over his run as the Human Torch stuff was really foreshadowed, I feel, over his run that he was going to die. And then moving forward, and then also shown by his other work, Nightly News and the diagrams he does in Secret Wars. This guy's a planner. So you can't at any time feel like this guy's just winging it. This guy has a plan, which for me helps to give him a little leeway when things get slow, because I just assume this guy's going somewhere. I know he is. He's not one to shirk the responsibilities of being awesome when the chance to be awesome arises. So, FF, total buy, beautiful art, beautiful writing, great first issue. Much appreciated to all involved. Next up, we have Invincible number 78. We have Mr. Robert Kirkman again, and we have Ryan Ottley. The top of the book says, the best superhero comic in the universe. I, after reading issues like this, have a hard time disagreeing. Fantastic. This issue hit me hard. You've got so many aspects. I actually really enjoy Invincible more when it's dealing with the human aspect and element of the book. The action stuff is great. I love seeing Ottley pulling people's eyeballs and brains out of their head. That is pretty dope. But the emotional stuff is great. Seeing a pregnant Adam Eve, I had forgot she was pregnant. I go, completely spaced it. So when he shows up and she's just huge with baby, I was just like, the moment where he has that reaction. I mean, that's pretty much the reaction I had. Let's see if we can find that here. Where he comes in and he's like, what? Huh? And then she's like, don't look at me. And he's like, baby, I love you. I've been gone, but I love you. It's heartfelt. And then what's great? Okay, so Invincible is great because it has moments like that. But it's also great because it can easily transverse from that into something a little bit more, less emotionally draining and thoughtful. You go from basically that, and then eventually move into Invincible's mom and dad kind of reconciling a little bit. But somewhere in between, you have, them like well, remember all those invincible bots we built? We're not going to need them. And the dude's just like, literally, bummer. And then it's like, let's transition into more emotional stuff. Just, you know, Kirkman is truly amazing. Him and Bendis, I feel, are at the top of the game when it comes to, you know, the humanity of developing the characters and having these grandiose schemes and things going on, but still maintaining these individual characters and really helping to foster the interpersonal connections between them. I think outside of that, you know, you've clearly got some other people who are rising up. You got Christos Gage doing amazing work on Avengers Academy with the solo stories. You got Morning Glories with Nick Spencer doing similar things. You've got Jonathan Hickman on FF and Fantastic Four, who's got a great emotional grasp on his characters. But between Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead and Invincible, I can't find anybody that comparable besides Bendis, who on Ultimate Spider-Man and Powers and things like that has done such a good job of really nurturing the characters and helping them to grow into three-dimensional things. Kirkman and Bendis. Anyway, complete some, just throw out some fanboy love out there, but it's not even fanboy love. I just love. Also, look at that. Oh, beautiful art. Otley is amazing. The guy is a tremendous talent. Just overall, I would give this a buy, clearly. So much happening here. So much to go. So many places to go from here. It's like they said, time out. We're going to have a huge, awesome battle epic. And then they do it, and it's awesome, except for the end of it. I wasn't a big fan of the way that was all called off. And then it's like, oh, let's get back to our main story. I'm pregnant. We were separated. You destroyed the world. Welcome back, asshole. Let's figure it out. There's just so much. It's such a multi-layered. It's like an onion. There's just so many layers if you want to get all cliche and shit up in this bitch. Just good book. Good fucking book. Between that and Walking Dead, Kirkman is dominating, and it's well-deserved. I don't know what else is to be said there. That's a great book. Anyway, I think that about wraps things up for us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just doing reviews today. I'm doing this real quick. I'm doing it barefoot, nonetheless. That's right. See, you can only see below the waist. For all you know, some of these episodes I do it naked below the waist. Get that picture out of your head. I dare you. I hope you're not going to sleep anytime. Nightmares by Brandon Burpee. Anyway, I feel like we should just keep going because I've got beer left, but that's not fair to you. Let's end this. Hope you had a good time. I know I did. Look at your pretty faces. Come back and see me next week. I love you all. Next week, we have the end of the month wrap-up, which means one title's walking away with the championship belt. Right in time for WrestleMania, nonetheless. Who's going to be the champ? Who's going to take down the #1 title? Who's going to be the worst book of the month? Find out next week, ladies and gentlemen. Same burp time, same burp channel. Peace out. Bye-bye.